Hi everyone, Kelsey Fair here with K Fair Design. I wanted to do a follow-up video on the Kurapia that we used in our front yard. When we originally posted the video, I got a ton of questions. A lot definitely needed to be answered because it was right when we had first planted it. I talked a little bit about a shady area that we were trying to resolve and have some green in. So I want to show you where it worked and where it didn't, and why we're happy with it and why we're glad that we ended up switching it around. So I'll take you over here. So this is our front yard now. I'm kind of working with the video backwards, but as you can see, the Kurapia has grown over the sides of the patio quite a bit. So you can see here, this is just like leaf litter and stuff. So you can really look at the difference between the Kurapia from my last video to this video. In the last video, you can see the actual line of it just here, and we did a small bit of stone that was retaining the Kurapia in this area here, and it just completely grows over. So Kurapia works really well if you have like any kind of old hardscaping that's not doing very, that's kind of doesn't look great. It can kind of helps to sort of like hide blemishes in that way. Our patio was fine. I just kind of like the natural edge. There were a couple of things that areas that it did not do very well. Underneath the table, the Kurapia did not do very well, and so we actually ended up, this is dichondra, and so this is the difference. So this is dichondra, and then this here is Kurapia. So this is Kurapia, and this is all Kurapia in here. So there obviously is a very slight difference. You can see where the Kurapia gets a little bit leggier in the shade. And then the dichondra just does like better in the shade anyways. It's not going to take as well to foot traffic as the Kurapia does, but this table doesn't get used a ton. Probably it might get used a little bit more in the summertime. I just kind of like, having it. We don't even have the chairs set up because we're trying to get the sun underneath there. So I did find underneath the table, the Kurapia didn't take very well, but I just want to show you. So this is where, this is a perfect example. So Kurapia takes really well to foot traffic. And so the areas around the flagstones you can see are much more dense than, let's say, like this area over here where it's a little bit more fluffy. This area and this area and this area, the only difference really here is that this sees more foot traffic and this sees less foot traffic. But as far as sunlight is concerned, it's almost the exact same amount of sun. So you can see it just becomes more dense with foot traffic. So it's very like tight knit, and the runners are smaller in this area, and then this area where it doesn't get as much foot traffic, it's just a little bit more fluffy. So another really fun thing about it I really like, this is my wine barrel. It kind of grows up the sides of the wine barrel, which I love. These are all the leaves right now, but we have an Australian box tree and it's very messy. This is a side that doesn't see as much sun, but I just want to show you like how this Kurapia grows. You can see it'll just grow up the sides of things, which I think is actually quite pretty. This is kind of shows, so it can get quite leggy underneath here. You can see it just sort of legs that sort of produces this mat, but then ends up looking really nice on top. So a little bit leggier in shadier areas. Definitely in deep shades. This is deep shade underneath the table. It's kind of starting to take in there, so it'll send out a runner and then grow in, but really it should see at least, I would say, 4 hours of sun at the very least a day in the summertime in order to really get a good cover. We do find that sometimes there are little pieces of grass that come up through it. It's not a huge deal. It's kind of like weeds in a regular line. You kind of just got to pull them. Again, not a big deal. We just kind of like take them out. And honestly, you can hardly even see them through the Kurapia. This side, we ended up deciding to go with gravel on this side of the yard because the Kurapia did not take very well. We ended up just throwing gravel directly on top of the old Kurapia, and we have kind of let it grow through to sort of create this natural pathway. And I actually really like the look of it. It just kind of comes up through, and you know, this is the fire pit, and it sort of comes up through the fire pit. So kind of has like a nice natural look. I have this stone here. It sort of comes up against the stone, and I've planted in some other plants next to it. So you know, there's some other pieces of our garden, bromeliads and stuff. But yeah, so you can see, you know, in the areas that it's done well, we've just sort of let it do its thing, come up through the rocks, which I really, really love. But yeah, I would say 4 hours of sunlight's best. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying your summers, just hanging out in our front yard with Sharka. Hope you guys enjoyed our tour of the garden and learned a little bit more about Kurapia. For those of you who haven't watched my previous video, if you're hung on this long, Kurapia, drought tolerant ground cover. It's drought tolerant because the root system could go down 8 to 10 feet. It's been a great solution for me and a lot of my clients, so hope this video was helpful.